Ultra Access, Scaffold Technical Support.
Hello, this is Jason at Ultra Access. Now this is just a quick off-the-cuff video that I wanted to make, and primarily make it for the scaffolders, for older scaffolders that are starting to feel it now and starting to ache, and the general wear and tear is making it more and more difficult to work on the tools, essentially. So if you're an experienced scaffolder and you're coming close to the end of your scaffolding career, the big question you must be asking yourself, because I know I used to do it, what do I do next? What am I going to do to continue to earn a comparable amount of money to what I earn on the tools? So my advice would be, as I've done a publication on it, I've done a few publications on the subject. My advice would be is to get yourself familiar with Microsoft Office. Now, as per one of the publications I made, I only covered 4 of the 7 or 8 different programs that comprise the full package. They're the 4 most important, I think, for scaffolding or for moving into a scaffolding office. Now, you've got Microsoft Word. That's for sending or that's for creating letters, things like policies, contracts of employment. You can make quotes on them, stuff like that. Health and safety policies, whatever. PowerPoint, to a lesser extent, is for slideshows, potentially toolbox talks, that sort of stuff. Microsoft Outlook is for sending emails, but that is dependent on the internet provider your company uses or the company you work for uses. It could depend. They might use Gmail, so on and so forth. And the most important one, in my opinion, something that's done me or helped me out a lot in the past, is Microsoft Excel, as shown here. So what I'm developing at the moment, I'm developing a interactive pricing matrix for new build, for scaffolding companies, for use for new build developments. So essentially, it took a little while. Again, it's all effort. That's all it is, effort and making mistakes, learning from your mistakes, starting again, just a bit of time. That's all it takes. It's not exactly difficult to make these once you have a little bit of time and effort and some experience with them. So you put your rates in here, essentially. It gives you a little bit of information. You put your rates in here. These ain't set in stone. It's just I'm tinkering around with it. And then your building type and all that, I shall explain it in a minute. So you go to tab 2. To tab 2, you've got Oakwood. That is automatically duplicated onto here. And once it's done, this is all locked. So you put in, this is for your meterage. It says here your keys, your red box. You put your meterage in. So it's 55 meters on the base lift or the first lift, 55 on the second, on the third, on the fourth. Now I base it on 4 lifts because usually it's between 4, maybe 5-ish lifts, thereabouts. Again, you can always adapt your cost to suit. If there's an extra lift going in, you can always just tinker around a little bit and make those adjustments. But I base it on 4 lifts for putting up essentially bricky lifts for a new build 2-story house, between 1.2s, 1.5s ish. You want to come so far down, from your soffit anyway, so you can still put your soffit and fascias in, and the roofers haven't got a big step to get up and start doing their stuff. So this is what I've made. This is going to be, once it's completed, I'm very close to completing it, this will be marketed to small to medium scaffold companies to hopefully save them a lot of time and a lot of money when it comes to them estimating their own work, because they might not have the opportunity or they might not have the resources and the cash flow to employ a full-time estimator. And then what it pumps out on the other end, this is an interactive pie chart, depending, again, I'm just playing around these figures, depending what you put in. A new build site, you're not going to have £20,000 worth of design costs. You're not. They're almost certainly going to be TG, with maybe things like truss racks that'll be designed. So you change that to £2,000 and it changes. You can change all your different amounts here, and it also changes your estimates amount. So you want to put more labour on the job, so on and so forth. You can change this as you want to. Now, I was able to build this using nothing but just experience, time and effort. So if you're a scaffolder and you are coming to the end of your scaffolding career, it's very, very viable career path to choose to get into scaffold estimating. That's what I do currently at the moment. It's probably the most amount of work I do for all my different clients as freelance scaffolding consultant, who is a one-stop shop. We can do basically anything operationally within the scaffolding industry. I'm finding that because of the high demand of scaffold estimators, they're just simply not there. I'm getting more and more of this sort of work. Can I do all the estimation work in the whole of the scaffolding industry on my own? No, I can't. So it's of no consequence to me whatsoever by giving yourselves, the scaffolders, a little bit of advice on how you can potentially finish your finish your career on the tools and then progress into something else that will earn you a decent amount of money. You'd probably be looking at maybe starting off at about 45 grand a year. You could progress up to 90, 100,000 pounds, quite easily. It certainly beats, trying to get a job as a postman or, being a milkman. You're in the dry, you're in the warm, a lot of the time you don't really have to go to site, the information's sent to you, and it's definitely a viable option, other than keying yourself on the tools until the point you are actually crippled and you're in a lot of trouble. Right, fellas, so I'll keep this short. My name's Jason, Ultra Access. Feel free to contact me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to give as much advice as possible. And if you're a small to medium scaffolding company out there, my services are available and I can create stuff like this. Fairly easily. And I will be looking at marketing this to small to medium scaffold companies as a very cost effective way of carrying on estimating for your projects without the stress and cash flow issues that employing a full-time scaffold estimator may bring. All right, so anyway, hope you have a good day. And if you need me for anything, I'm available. And have a good day and stay safe.
Ultra Access, Scaffold Technical Support. Proudly supporting the British scaffolding industry. With a selection of our services including guidance and advice publications, scaffold estimations, technical training and development, scaffolding inspections and compliance audits, scaffolding vlogs and videos, and UK-wide scaffolding consultancy services. Ultra Access, Scaffold Technical Support.